Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at virginiafarmbureau.com.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all the wonderful products we enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Agriculture education is a passion for the new Virginia Farm Bureau Young Farmer Chairman. Building a greenhouse is a dream for many home gardeners, and a new class of young farm leaders are in training for the next 2 years. Welcome back, everyone. We're coming to you from the north side of Richmond, Virginia, here at Lewis Ginter Botanical Gardens. And as you can see, they have a beautiful conservatory behind me and also a greenhouse. Later on in our show, we're going to show you how you can bring a greenhouse to your landscape at home. But first, we're going to celebrate tomorrow's agricultural leaders. Today, we highlight the Virginia Farm Bureau's Young Farmers Committee Chair, who is also an ag education teacher. Mindy McCroskey knows all too well that agriculture education is critically needed in Virginia. McCroskey farms in Washington County in southwest Virginia with her family by her side. But it's what she does during the day that is helping change the face of agriculture, one student at a time. The 34-year-old agriculture education teacher at Abington High School is also the new Young Farmer Chairman for the Virginia Farm Bureau. While several husband and wife couples have served as Young Farmer co-chairman in the past, she's the first woman elected solely to that role.
I raise beef cattle. I have my own herd of purebred Simmental cattle, so I have cow-calf pairs that I raise each year. So my duties basically include feeding and caring for the cattle, making sure they get their vaccinations and are taken care of. I think females have a great role in agriculture in this day and time. I think we've proven that we can do the hard work as well and also encourage other females to get involved. So it's very exciting to be a female leader in the industry.
McCroskey was also the 2016 national runner-up for the American Farm Bureau Federation's Excellence in Agriculture Award for her leadership efforts both on and off the farm. As the Virginia Farm Bureau Young Farmer Chairman, she will serve on the State Board of Directors and help guide the direction of the state's largest farm organization. Today, average Americans are 3 generations removed from the farm, and most don't understand or really don't think about agriculture's importance. That's why McCroskey and other agriculture education teachers are working to shape the future of this vital industry.
Really, there's a lot of career opportunities in the agricultural industry. So if a student's looking for a path to go down, whether it's plants, animals, or even ag business and economics, we offer a lot of different courses to give them those opportunities.
While agriculture certainly includes crop and animal production, agricultural education also includes programs designed to prepare students for occupations in horticulture, in business, natural resource management, machinery, and production agriculture. And agriculture is still the largest industry in Washington County.
It's important for us not only to help these students understand the importance of the industry as a whole, but to also carry on the tradition and have them come back to the family's farm, because if they don't do it, then it'll end up being sold down the road and we end up losing more farms. So for agriculture to be our #1 industry, we want to keep those farms in place to continue that tradition for our county as well.
There are approximately 300 agriculture education programs across the state, according to the Virginia Association of Agricultural Educators. While Washington County schools still feature agriculture education, other local school systems in the state have dropped the technical curriculum. McCroskey says that it is critical to show support in counties for ag education instructors and for the students that they serve.
It's just a struggle, probably on a yearly basis, to verify the importance of our agricultural education programs in certain school systems. So we just keep continuously fighting to show the importance of that and keep them with a budget.
To find out more about agriculture education career opportunities in Virginia, go to vaae.info.
Public schools in Virginia were few and far between before the beginning of the 20th century. In 1902, a new state constitution was ratified with a strong call to improve the quality and reach of the public school system. In 1903, minimum standards for high schools were approved, and in 1915, the Department of Instruction issued new study requirements for high schools in the Old Dominion. In addition to reading, writing, and arithmetic, high schools also began offering vocational education options, and that was the beginning of the ag education curriculum in Virginia. Today, agriculture courses are offered in about 300 of the state's 693 public high schools.
Hi, next we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, hobby greenhouses, from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
Horses, food, and fun. It's all coming March 24th to the 26th at the Virginia Horse Festival at the Meadow Event Park. Experience 3 days of family-friendly activities for the horse lover in all of us. Shop vendors selling boots, barns, food, and trailers. See Outback Horseman extraordinaire Guy McLean show off the traditions of the Australian bush. Visit the Chenery collection of rare Meadow Stable memorabilia as we celebrate the birthday of Secretariat, America's most famous racehorse. Learn more at virginiahorsefestival.com or on Facebook on the Virginia Horse Festival page.
There are 30,000 roadway accidents each year involving cars and farm machinery. Farmers will be moving equipment for planting and harvest season. The slow-moving vehicle triangle in red and fluorescent orange colors and flashing lights allow for quick identification. When you see an SMV sign on farm equipment, slow down, prepare for sudden stops and slow turns.
Patience will save lives. Just remember, we all need to share the road, we all need to be responsible, and we need to be guided by the law.
Motor vehicle safety starts with you. If you're a serious gardener, perhaps you'll want to add one of these to your landscape. Well, maybe not quite this large. A little lower to scale, shall we say. Today, Chris Mullins with Virginia Cooperative Extension shows us how you can add a greenhouse to your landscape from the ground up.
Hi and welcome. Today we're at Virginia State University's Randolph Farm and we're going to be talking about hobby or home greenhouses. Now many of you might think this time of the year it's cool outside, I can't do anything in my garden, but you certainly could be in a greenhouse working. It's no better place in the wintertime than being in a greenhouse in my opinion. Lots of things you can do with a hobby greenhouse. Many of you might have cold frames now and this would be definitely a step up, where you'd be able to maybe grow your transplants. If you have a vegetable garden, you'd be able to start transplants in here earlier, much earlier actually, and if you can control the environment in here and have your transplants ready to go when the ground warms up. You could also have house plants in here that you move out to get sun during the wintertime outside of the home. You also could grow in here. You could till the ground up and grow and maybe start earlier with your vegetable garden in this structure and even extend it into the fall. So lots of things you can do with a hobby greenhouse. Kind of depends on what you want to do, what you're willing to pay in terms of heating cost. But a great thing that you can do in your yard to help your gardening project. One of the things that people ask about is you know, can I build this myself? Where can I build it? Where do I site it? And often I'll say, yeah, you certainly can build it yourself. These things are fairly easy to build. And what you want to think about in your yard or wherever you're going to put it, you want a well-drained site that's not going to have a lot of water standing. You'd like to be away from a lot of shade trees because whatever you've got in here, you want lots of sunlight throughout the day. And you want to be close or relatively close to some things like electricity and water, because you're going to need water in here and you might need electricity for a heater or something else. So relatively easy to build, and you can do it yourself. People will also ask, well, how much does it cost? I mean, are they very expensive? Well, they can be. They can be relatively inexpensive, several $100s for maybe a smaller one, or several thousands or $10,000s of dollars to build something very elaborate. And some of the factors when you're thinking about costs are what type of floor it has. This particular one that we're standing in right now is not completely finished. We just have a ground floor, but we're going to be putting ground cover over top of that and then putting river rock or stone in here as something to walk on. Sometimes people will pour concrete and put concrete down. Now that can be very expensive. So the floor is one thing. The sheathing, the material that's on the outside, it can be a few different things. It can be Polycarbonate, like you see here, which is a hard plastic material, it insulates fairly well, and it's probably one of the most common types of covering that you'll see for a hobby greenhouse. You can also have plastic and glass, but those have a little more expense and a little more issues. So polycarbonate is a really good one. It comes in panels and it can easily be slid in here, and it helps with construction ease. Some of the other things that you have to think about with a greenhouse: how do I heat it? How do I cool it? Because even on a winter day, if it's bright and sunny outside, you're going to get pretty warm in here. So we have vents in here. We have vents in the roof that open up automatically. These can be bought. They don't have to require electricity, and they will open at a certain set point of temperature. So if it gets too hot, they open up. We also in here have a small vent or opening, and this vent can be manually opened. You could also hook it up to something automatic. So what happens is, as you've got vents in the roof and you've got vents on the side, you create a chimney effect, which really cools the whole structure down. You can also put a heater in here, because at night it gets cold, and if you've got your transplants in here and it's in the 30s or 40s outside, you're going to need to heat it. Most of the time, with a small hobby greenhouse, people will put an electric type heater, and you can find these all over the place now at home improvement warehouses and big box retailers, where you can, they've got thermostats on them. Another thing you could do is heat with propane and have a really nice unit heater that's exhausted to the outside, but that's going to be a little bit more expense. Always remember to check with your locality, your city or your county government, to see if there's any special building regulations that you have to build a hobby greenhouse. There might be some rules and things that you need to follow, and you might need to be able to get a permit in order to build it. So just always check with them first. One last tip that you need to think about when you are building a structure like this: think about size, and I'm going to tell you, you will always need more space. You'll always outgrow the space that you plan on. So try to build a little bit more always. It's a little easier to do that at the beginning, up front, than it is to add on to longer. Well, for more information about greenhouses, hobby greenhouses, contact your local county extension office and ask a master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.
Cherries are a healthy, popular ingredient, and Chef John Maxwell has a recipe for a very unique dessert that will please any cherry lover. Up next, in the heart of the home.
From our farms to your table, Virginia dairy farm families are dedicated to providing your family with nutritious, high-quality milk.
I'm Dan Myers, a fifth-generation dairy farmer from Virginia.
I'm Roy Vanderhyde, a first-generation dairy farmer from Virginia.
I'm Gerald Heatwell, a third-generation dairy farmer from Virginia.
I am dedicated to dairy, my cows,
My milk,
and our land.
It's a fun dessert with a funny name, cherry Clafouti. Today, Chef John Maxwell shows us how to create this fruit dessert in the heart of the home.
Hi, welcome to Heart of the Home. I'm Chef John Maxwell, and we're here at Meadow Hall at Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia, and we're getting ready to play with one of Virginia's great fruits. We're going to play with some cherries in honor of George Washington for this month of February. We're making a French custard pie called a Clafouti. I need you to say it again after me. Clafouti, right? And it's pretty easy to make, but it's very, very tasty and very, very pretty. So I've got some canned cherries here. You can use fresh cherries, but make sure you take the pits out. Right? I've drained them, and then I've patted them dry with this towel, with paper towel. All right? Now I'm going to put them into this baking pan. It's a Pyrex baking pan that I've buttered and floured. All right? Now I'm just going to lay them in a single layer. All right, and I'm going to set it aside now while I make the batter. I get my bowl in here, and I've got 4 eggs. And whenever we're making a batter, we want to Whisk the eggs before we add any of the other ingredients. Get those all broken up nice. And now we're going to add our milk. Now, I'm not going to be, this is about a cup of milk. I'm not too concerned with getting you the information on the specific amounts. You can go to chefmaxwell.com and chefjohnmaxwell.com and get the recipes. They're up there each week. All right. I'm going to add some lemon zest. Now, lemon zest is just the outside yellow skin of this lemon that I've pulled a rasp across, right? And we get these just fine little parts that go inside the batter. About a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now we're going to add some sugar, about a half a cup. All right, some flour, about a cup and a quarter. Some salt. All right, now we're going to mix this up till it's smooth. Now this, you got to make sure that all the lumps of flour are broken up. So we're getting this mixed up really, really good. Now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter, melted. That's whole, unsalted butter. Now what I usually do now is find something to do for a while to make sure everybody around there thinks I'm working really, really hard on this recipe. But this is it. Now all I do is add this to the cherries. Now if you pour it in too quick, you'll move the cherries out of the way. And I want those cherries to be nice and regulated so they'll rise up a little bit with the heat and make a nice impression. They're going to start to pop up here in a couple of minutes, but we're going to put this in the oven to make sure that it's cooked in time for us to enjoy. All right, there's that. Beautiful. Now it works best with a little bit of powdered sugar on it. This is going to be so good. This is almost custardy and full of cherries. So we get that done. Beautiful. Okay, I don't know which one of these two is going to win, but our camera crew is just fighting to get up here to these cherries. That's a French classic tradition, cherry clafouti, in honor of President's Day. Every week, we make recipes using great Virginia-grown food. We make them in our kitchen so you can make them in your kitchen. Join us next week on Heart of the Home when we get to play with more great Virginia food.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on Chef Maxwell's website, chefjohnmaxwell.com. Cherries are a relatively rare Virginia tree fruit, but you can still find some cherry orchards in the mountains of southwest Virginia. In 2012, there were 72 orchards raising sweet cherries in the Old Dominion. Another 39 orchards produced tart cherries. Those numbers had declined about 50% from 2007. Cherry trees grow well in a wide variety of Virginia soil types as long as adequate drainage is available. Like other tree fruits, late-season frosts are a major risk. Ornamental cherry trees are more popular in most Virginia communities, especially in the spring when they flower.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
"90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made our local farmers a promise to protect and preserve a way of life they'd worked so hard to establish. Today, our insurance agents work to protect all Virginians, not just farmers. Anyone can be a Farm Bureau member, but the original promise remains. There's a local Farm Bureau in every county of the state. We want to keep Virginia, Virginia. Visit our websites at farmbureauadvantage.com and vafarmbureau.org.
An industry as important as agriculture needs to be prepared for the future. Norm Hyde explains why a relatively new program, Virginia Agricultural Leaders Obtaining Results, was formed 5 years ago.
The Valor Program began in 2012 as a leadership training opportunity for a wide cross-section of Virginia agriculture and agribusiness leaders. It's hosted in the Virginia Tech College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. Interim Director Dr. Ed Jones, who's also the Director of Virginia Cooperative Extension, says farm leaders felt it was needed to assure the future success of their industry.
It was a deliberate attempt to make sure that we have those leaders for the future, taking people who are young, passionate, and skilled, and give them additional skills and networks so that they can be effective voices.
Valor Fellows, as they're called, come from the farm, from agribusiness, from local and state government, and educational backgrounds. Former Valor Director Megan Seibel says these backgrounds are deliberately mixed to give the fellows new perspectives.
I believe firmly in people staying involved with organizations, getting to know not only their professional network around the specifics of the type of business that they do, but also think a little bit more broadly about what interacting with others looks like, because I think there's a lot of commonalities in the lessons that people learn throughout life and business.
There are a limited number of people that are actually doing the production side of it, but there are segments of that are growing. And there are a lot of people involved in agribusiness in a lot of different facets.
The third class of Valor Fellows began their training last fall. Over the course of 2 years, each Valor class travels the state to witness a wide variety of farm and forest businesses. They learn about the challenges and successes of these operations. They also visit the state capitol to enhance their political skills in order to become more effective spokespersons for agriculture.
We're trying to scale local regional consumption of local regional farm products, and Virginia is awash in a ton of amazing and agricultural products. So for me, the value is really getting to know the industry in greater depth, building a broader network of producers of all kinds.
There's a lot of room for improvement and growth in the wine industry in Virginia, particularly in Loudoun County, and I feel like a lot of the potential there is through associations, through setting up educational or informative programs for new growers to continue to improve the quality. So my hope is that through my experience with Valor, I can be a part of pushing things forward.
What we've already learned from the uniqueness of Virginia and agriculture and what it takes to get work done, it's been fascinating. There's a reoccurring theme throughout the whole state that we've seen so far. No matter what people are doing, they're busting their butts and working extremely hard, and I appreciate seeing that work ethic everywhere.
Each Valor class tours part of the U.S. to see operations in other states. They also travel abroad to learn about farming practices in other countries. Previous Valor visits included Argentina and Vietnam, and the program has already begun to bear fruit.
We have several that have gone on and they've taken on roles in Farm Bureau and many other organizations. Our current Secretary of Agriculture is a Valor graduate. And so we want to see people rise to those kinds of opportunities in whatever organization, whether it's government or a private organization.
To learn more about the Valor program and how to participate or support it, visit their page on the Virginia Tech website, vt.edu. In Richmond, Virginia, I'm Norm Hyde.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.